And welcome back to another Hersey Dispatch.
Sorry, I was itching myself up here.
Take off your media pass, by the way.
God, I look so.
And welcome back to another Hersey Dispatch Game Day. I'm Ryan Contreras-Betz alongside Johnny Fahey, as we've been with you all season long. And you know what? We're excited for this one. Round 2 action. We're going to face off against Downers Grove North. They're coming to our turf tomorrow at 4 p.m. Johnny, how excited are you?
I'm really excited to watch them. DGN's had a great year, but I think Hersey's going to come out on top.
Yep, I mean, so last week, I know Johnny was at the game. Unfortunately, we were not able to broadcast the game. I was up there doing stats. It was a 28-19 victory over Wheaton Warrenville South. Not the best game for the Huskies.
No, it was very close, especially at halftime. It was tied, or we were up by 1 going into halftime because they missed 2 extra points. I think that whole game, 1 extra point in the first half. But it was way too close for a first round game for a 10-0 or for a 9-0 team.
Yeah, I mean, of course, now we sit at 10-0. We finished the regular season undefeated, and we keep moving on. We now have a pretty good win streak going. We won the East, and of course, we won the conference. But the big problem, though, is we're going to have to rely and have a better game. We were led mostly last week by Nasir's 205 yards on 25 carries. He had 3 touchdowns, including an opening drive 73-yarder. He's rushed for over 1,300 yards and 19 touchdowns. He's had 7 games of 100-plus rushing yards. He's been a workhorse this year.
Yeah, it's an insane athlete there. I talked with Nasir's mom after the game. She was going, that's my son, which was very funny. Me and my friends were all laughing. We thought it was a great time, but he's a freak athlete.
Yeah, I mean, so definitely we're going to need production out of Nasir to face off against a very tough DGN squad. But we're also going to need to see a little bit better of the passing game. We were stifled. I mean, it was, I think, Colton's only game all season under 100 yards. His efficiency wasn't terrible based on pure stats. 9 of 14 for 64%, 94 yards, 1 passing touchdown. But it was not his strongest game. I don't know what you saw out there. For me, it just wasn't his best game as it normally is.
No, definitely not. He wasn't on his game. But I think this week he'll regroup. Just needed a week to, get back into it, and he'll be good to go tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Colton is going to be good no matter what. I mean, he has now 1,978 yards. He's closing in on the 2,000-yard mark. 24 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. And the one thing that I will say, in my opinion at least, is he was just pressured so many more times last week than he has all season.
Yeah, the line was not the best last week. Ethan Sather had a pretty rough game, just as Colton did. But again, I think this week we'll be able to come back stronger.
Yeah, I mean, our team has just been so good at, even when we're not on our best, we bounce back almost immediately. And that was really the first game all year that we did struggle a little. But that's not to say we did bad. We only gave up 19 points, and if that's the most points you've given up all season long, you're doing a pretty good job of playing defense. We held their starting running back, who had just a crazy year looking at the stats. He had 59 yards on 17 carries, and I was doing stats the whole game. Every carry was 1 yard, 2 yards, -3 yards, and then he had only 3 rushes of over 5 yards. It was for 8, 13, and 11. I know, did you notice anything in the stands, different perspective?
It was just not a lot of big plays for Wheaton Warrenville, and that's a huge thing against Hersey. You have to have a lot of big plays to beat us.
Yeah, I mean, problem is, though, we did give up 2 really big, long rushing plays to their quarterback. He had a 34-yard rush, and then I think it was a 22-yard touchdown rush. Not what you'd want to see, but we did keep a strong pass defense. I mean, I wrote it down somewhere, but they only had, only 46 yards in the air. I mean, we had an interception, we recovered a fumble, so our defense was strong. What's so great is if we have a rough game and we still do all these little things right, that's going to bode well for us in the future. We have to make mention, Carson Grove, he had 4 receptions for 65 yards. And that means he set the single season record for receiving yards here at Hersey. He's now got over 1,200. He's at 1,278, which is first in the state of Illinois. And the only one close to him is Hoffman's Steven Sellers. He has 1,213. And Hoffman was eliminated last week by Lincoln Way East. So there's a really good chance Carson finishes the year with the most receiving yards in the state, which would be an enormous accomplishment for the Huskies. Now, Downers Grove North, I'm going to let Johnny actually lead you in with this one.
Well, my dad is a friend of the coach at St. Francis, Bob McMillan. They played DGN first week of the entire year, which they lost in 27-22. But the Bob McMillan said that the key player on DGN is Noah Battle, their running back. He's had a fantastic year. He also plays slot receiver and goes back on defense, very similar to Hersey's own Carson Grove. And the two losses that they have against the two top teams in state, York and Lyons Township, Noah Battle did not play in either of those games. So the key for Hersey this week is going to be stopping Noah Battle.
Yeah, I mean, big shout out to Johnny Fahey. First time he's done a little bit of research all week. So we got to give a big clap for him. We got Antonucci in the back. Thank you again, Antonucci. But yeah, so Noah, he's just a phenomenal running back. He had 4 all-purpose touchdowns last week. He had 2 on the ground, 1 in the air, and he had a pick 6, which was one of 5 DGN turnovers. That's a 42-3 win over Kenwood. He ran for 217 yards. Also slots in, like we were saying on defense, he slots in mostly at the linebacker spot. And of course, Johnny brought up their 2 losses to Lyons and
York.
York, thank you. York is ranked 6th in the state. York is just routinely one of the tougher teams in the state. I've been able to watch them play last year. I've talked to a few people over there. They're just a very strong program. And, I mean, that's a tough game. And the games weren't like blowouts either. DGN hung in there. So obviously Noah is a key component, and he was injured late in the season. Both of those losses came in the past month. And he just came back last week. That was his first game back from injury. So that's almost something you have to watch out for to see maybe off a little bit of rust. What if he re-aggravates something? And obviously we're not saying we hope he does, but that's something to watch and be careful of. Just thinking from the DGN perspective, you want to protect him at all costs. Maybe they don't rush him as much. Maybe they try to protect him. That brings up their quarterback, sophomore Owen Lansu. He had a strong season himself, but last week he threw on for 140 total yards, but only 3 passing attempts after halftime. Could be a result because it was a blowout. I mean, up by nearly 40. He apparently has some Power 5 schools scouting him. I was reading up on him. I don't know which ones, but I wish I could look in and find that out a little bit more. But obviously you're going to have to watch the pass game because it's pretty clear it's not something to be afraid of, or not afraid of. That's bad grammar. But obviously, so DGN is, their 7-2 regular season record I feel like is a little deceiving. Just because of the division they play in, the West Suburban Silver. I mean, they were behind Glenbard West, York, and Lyons. Do you know what Glenbard West did last week?
I think they won, but I'm not 100% sure.
They did win. We got Ryan Antonucci helping us out today. He always is helping. He's just chilling on his phone. They had a point differential of 196, plus 196. Of course, we had an insane point differential, plus 360. I mean, that number just gets crazier to me every single time I read it. But so it's going to be interesting to see what your Huskies can do. Johnny, I actually have funny notes. You know, me and Johnny, we played baseball together, and we lost our championship game.
Yeah.
It was little brutal.
Yeah.
Any results? Any thoughts on that?
It was. We had a rough game that entire game. We could not hit. RCB pitched great though. So.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. But funny, I was at Culver's after the game with some of our other teammates. You'll never guess people we ran into from Wheaton, Warrenville South.
Who'd you run into?
We ran into their running back and a couple of the other people in the room. And so, because we're with a couple of our friends, we go to other schools. They started yelling at me saying he goes to Hersey.
Yeah.
We almost got jumped inside of a Culver's.
Jumped inside of a Culver's.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that they would have jumped you. But
it was funny because they started yelling at us because they were messing. It was kind of funny. Just a little bit of a side note.
We beat them though. So
we did beat them by a lot. Does not matter. Gave a parting "Go Huskies" as we walked out of that Culver's. I'm not lying. That's something Johnny would do.
That is definitely something.
That's definitely a Johnny thing.
Yeah.
So a little sign up. Now we're going to go back to the games to watch. Naperville Central is going to face off against Barrington. Johnny, who do you have in that one?
I'm taking Barrington. They're the favorites. I think that's not even going to be a close game.
Yeah, I mean, they've been led by like quarterback Nick Pipert, and they've just had such a strong year. I said all year long, overrated. I changed my mind, 3 weeks ago? They are not overrated. Barrington is a real threat to make some noise continuously in this postseason, so I also have Barrington. In our own division, Prospect faces off against Mount Carmel. No chance. Sorry, Mount Carmel's going to win.
I mean, I feel bad for Prospect. They got a really, really unlucky draw having to face Mount Carmel in the second week. There's no way that they even come close to winning this game. But if they did, that would be an insane upset.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading in all the newspapers and stuff. The writers do think highly of Prospect, and honestly, we have to give them credit. They're averaging 30-something points a game. Who's their quarterback again? Skoog. Jack Skoog. He's had a great year. I think he's thrown for 1,600 yards or something. Their 2 losses are to us and who else did they lose to? Barrington. Thank you. So 2 undefeated teams. They've played well, but Mount Carmel, they're ranked 2.
I think they're number 1.
Carmel's 1 now.
Who was number 1? Then?
I thought Loyola was 1.
Oh, it might be Loyola. They are 2. Thank you, Ryan.
Mount Carmel is 2. I was going to say, I thought Loyola was 1. Loyola is playing a team that I can't pronounce the school,
that won't even be a close game.
Nikitaville or something. Antonucci's saying I'm wrong.
Nikita Valley.
Nikita Valley.
Thank you, Antonucci. Let's clap it up for Ryan Antonucci. Thank you. So I think that's pretty known what Loyola's going to win. We picked Mount Carmel. Batavia, kind of a rival for us now just because of the way last year ended up.
Rough game last year. They absolutely stomped on their competition last week, shutting them out. Yeah. I think it was 35-0 or 46-0.
They shut out Brother Rice, I think 42-0. I think it was 36-0 at halftime. They put in their backups against Brother Rice.
And Brother Rice isn't a bad team. It's a fantastic football program, and their only losses are to very good teams this year.
All their losses were to top 10 teams.
It was very impressive to see what Batavia could do.
Yeah, I thought Brother Rice was going to be a sleeper just because of their low seed, their mediocre record. They went 5-4. That's not what you expect out of Brother Rice, but they did just so much better than I thought. They got stomped, and Batavia's going to play Lincoln Way Central. I think that's a Batavia win. Collinsville faces off against Lincoln Way West, and that's a big game that all Husky fans should be watching because the winner of that game is who, if we were to win this week, we'd match up against next week. And then Normal plays Bradley Bourbonnais. I've got Normal winning that one. What about you?
I've also got Normal winning that one.
Game of the week, York is going at Lions, and that's kind of an interesting to watch because those are the teams that beat Downers Grove North. Who do you have, Johnny?
I think I'm going York. 6th in state, fantastic program over there. I think that they're going to come out on top.
This is going to be the second time ever we've agreed on every pick. I've also got York, but that's also because Lions lost to Prospect early in the year, week 1. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a little interesting to see. I think York is just a much better football program. Now we're going to give our score predictions for our Huskies facing off against the Downers Grove North Trojans. What's your score, Johnny?
I'm thinking we're going to get 35 or 42, so I'll go 35. I'll shoot low so that the expectations are...
What are they going to score?
I'll go 35 to 28.
35? So you've got a little bit of a barn burner there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game. I think
it's going to be a close game, too. I think it's going to be much lower scoring. I'm going 28 to 21. We're going to win by 1 touchdown.
No field goals at all?
No. We didn't kick one last week.
No, I don't think we did.
They didn't.
Well, they missed a lot of extra points.
They missed 2 extra points. Yeah, they didn't have any kicking.
Their field goal.
But yeah, those are our picks. No Lee Corso headgear pick today. We lost the mascot head. It's a very unfortunate day. Johnny's happy. He did not like putting the mascot head on.
I don't like wearing the mask. There's a bunch of fur that gets in my mouth. So,
but that's all the time we've got this week for this Hersey game day. Maybe we'll be back next week. If not, we've kind of prefaced this. I like Johnny. I like the confidence.
We'll be back next week.
We'll be back. Of course, stay tuned all fall and winter. We're going to be bringing basketball game days. Not every week, but we're going to give a couple of times here and there. For Ryan Contreras-Betz, Ryan Antonucci, and Johnny Fahey, it's Hersey Game Day, signing off.